This video is about hope. He was a cook until a rich woman gave him a future. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. Part 1. A taste of resilience. In a bustling city filled with dreams and ambition, there lived a man named Marco Dorata. He lived in a small, cramped apartment above a diner where the aroma of bacon and fresh coffee wafted through his window each morning. The diner, known as Maggie's Place, had seen better days, but Marco cherished it. It was where he had found his passion for cooking. Marco was a cook, but not just any cook. He had an uncanny ability to transform the simplest ingredients into mouth-watering dishes. He would spend hours in the kitchen, chopping, stirring, and blending flavors, sometimes losing track of time. For him, cooking wasn't just a job. It was an expression of his love for people, a way to bring joy to their lives. Yet, despite his talents, Marco struggled to make ends meet. The diner was often quiet, and the tips were meager. His paycheck barely covered rent and groceries, leaving little room for anything beyond survival. While he poured his heart into his cooking, he often felt like the world was holding him back, as if the universe had conspired against him. One late afternoon, as the sun began to set, Marco finished his shift and cleaned the kitchen. He lingered, wiping down the counters, his mind filled with dreams of culinary school. He had always wanted to elevate his skills, create dishes that would leave a mark on the culinary world. But with limited resources and responsibilities, those dreams felt far away. "Maggie, do you think I could ever make it as a chef?" he asked, glancing at his boss, an elderly woman with a heart full of warmth and wisdom. She was the kind of person who saw potential in everyone, and Marco had always felt like a project she was nurturing. Maggie smiled softly, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Marco, you have talent that shines like the morning sun. Don't let circumstances dim your light. If you truly want it, fight for it. Keep working hard and the right opportunities will come." Marco nodded, but doubt lingered in his mind. He returned home, gazing at his meager kitchen, an old stove, chipped plates, and a tiny fridge. He felt a pang of longing. He opened the fridge to find a few vegetables and some leftover rice. With determination, he set to work, preparing a simple stir-fry. As he cooked, the music from the radio filled the room, and he lost himself in the rhythm. Each chop of the knife was a reminder of his dreams, each sizzle a spark of hope. The taste was delicious. It was moments like these that kept his spirit alive. Days turned into weeks, and Marco continued to toil at the diner. He honed his skills each evening, experimenting with new recipes and techniques. He received encouraging nods from loyal customers who appreciated his efforts. Yet, the struggle persisted, and Marco often felt he was running in place. One day, while cleaning up after a slow lunch shift, a woman entered the diner. She was impeccably dressed and commanded attention with an air of confidence. Her name was Evelyn, a successful entrepreneur who owned several upscale restaurants in the city. She was known for her discerning palate and her commitment to discovering hidden culinary talents. Evelyn took a seat at the counter, her eyes scanning the menu. Marco felt a flutter of anxiety. He had heard of her, and the thought of cooking for her made his palms sweat. Gathering his courage, he approached her with a smile. "Good afternoon. Can I recommend the special today?" "It's a stir-fry with fresh vegetables and rice," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. Evelyn raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "I think I'll try that. It's always refreshing to taste something made with passion." Marco's heart raced as he prepared her meal, pouring everything he had into each slice of vegetable and every sprinkle of seasoning. When he finally placed the dish in front of her, he held his breath, hoping for a positive reaction. Evelyn took a bite, her eyes widening with surprise. "This is incredible!" she exclaimed, her voice resonating with genuine delight. "Who prepared this?" "That would be me," Marco replied, his cheeks flushing with pride. Evelyn leaned forward, her interest piqued. "How long have you been cooking here?" "Just over 3 years," Marco said, his nervousness fading as he spoke. "I've always dreamed of becoming a chef. But, well, life has its challenges. Challenges can either break you or make you stronger," Evelyn replied thoughtfully. "I see a spark in you, Marco. Have you ever considered culinary school?" "I have, but it feels so out of reach," he admitted, the weight of his dreams pressing down on him. "Not if you don't try," she said, her tone firm yet encouraging. "I can help you. I'm looking to mentor someone with potential, and you certainly have that." Marco's heart raced at the possibility. "You'd really do that for me?" Evelyn smiled warmly. "Absolutely, but remember, it requires dedication and hard work. Are you willing to put in the effort?" "Yes, I am," he exclaimed, feeling hope blossom in his chest. Over the next few weeks, Marco and Evelyn met regularly. She introduced him to the world of flavors, techniques, and the culinary arts. He learned to elevate his dishes, experimenting with new ingredients and presentations. Each lesson filled him with excitement and new energy. Yet, the path was not without its challenges. Marco often struggled to grasp certain techniques, sometimes feeling overwhelmed by the intricacies of gourmet cooking. There were moments of frustration when he doubted his abilities, but Evelyn always reminded him of the importance of resilience. "Every chef has faced challenges, Marco," she said one afternoon, as they practiced plating. "It's all part of the journey. When you stumble, remember that each fall is a lesson waiting to be learned." With renewed determination, Marco threw himself into his training. He spent countless nights practicing in his tiny kitchen, striving to perfect each dish. It wasn't just about impressing Evelyn anymore. It became a personal challenge to transform his dreams into reality. As the seasons changed, so did Marco's life. Inspired by Evelyn's mentorship, he began to envision a future where he could share his culinary creations with the world. He applied to culinary schools, pouring his heart into each application, fueled by the support and belief Evelyn had instilled in him. One evening, as Marco was closing up the diner, he received an email notification. His heart raced as he opened it. He had been accepted into a prestigious culinary school. Tears of joy filled his eyes as he thought of the journey ahead, the challenges he had overcome, and the hope that now illuminated his path. "Maggie!" he shouted, bursting into the back where she was cleaning dishes. She turned, her eyes brightening at the sight of his elation. "What is it, Marco? You look like you've seen a ghost." "I got in. I'm going to culinary school," he declared, hardly able to contain his excitement. Maggie rushed to him, enveloping him in a warm embrace. "I knew you could do it. You were meant for this. Your time has come, Marco." For the first time in a long while, Marco felt like he was not just surviving, but living. The struggles had been real, but so had the moments of hope, laughter, and growth. With each step forward, he felt the weight of his past lifting, replaced by a future filled with endless possibilities. Yet, as he stood there, wrapped in the warmth of Maggie's embrace, he knew that this was just the beginning of his journey. The road would not always be easy, but he was ready to face whatever lay ahead, fueled by the belief that dreams were worth fighting for. Part 2, The Feast of Dreams. As Marco prepared to embark on his culinary school adventure, he felt the weight of both excitement and apprehension. The acceptance letter was a beacon of hope, but the reality of what lay ahead loomed large. He had spent years in the cozy but confining kitchen of Maggie's place, and now he was stepping into a world that felt simultaneously thrilling and intimidating. The first day of culinary school arrived, and Marco stood outside the grand entrance, his heart racing. Fear gripped him as he took in the polished facade and the buzzing energy of students streaming in. He felt like a small fish in an ocean of seasoned chefs and culinary prodigies. Yet, he steeled himself, recalling Evelyn's words. Every chef has faced challenges. Inside, the aroma of spices and sizzling components engulfed him, stirring his enthusiasm. He joined a group of students in the kitchen, each one eager to showcase their skills. As the instructor introduced themselves and outlined the course expectations, Marco listened intently, his mind racing with possibilities. "Today," the instructor announced, "we'll be working on the foundations of knife skills. Precision and technique are crucial. Let's begin." Marco watched as his classmates effortlessly chopped vegetables with speed and accuracy. He took a deep breath, grasping the knife in his hand. The first attempt felt clumsy. The blade slipped slightly, and the onion rolled from his cutting board. Embarrassment washed over him, but he heard Evelyn's voice in his head. "When you stumble, remember that each fall is a lesson waiting to be learned." He dove back in, focusing on the rhythm of chopping. Each slice became a meditation, a reminder of his growth. By the end of class, he had improved, his confidence building with each piece he cut. As the weeks progressed, Marco faced both triumphs and struggles. Hours spent honing his skills wore on him. Some nights, he struggled to find joy in the chaos of the kitchen. There were days when he felt overwhelmed, surrounded by classmates who seemed naturally gifted. During one particularly challenging session, Marco found himself in a corner of the kitchen, staring at a mountain of unpeeled potatoes. His hands trembled, and doubt bubbled up. "What am I doing here?" he muttered to himself. Just then, Evelyn entered the school for a guest lecture. Spotting Marco, she approached him. "Hey, Marco, how's it going?" He forced a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "It's tough. I thought I'd be better by now." Evelyn knelt beside him, offering a supportive presence. "Remember, every great chef has faced what you're feeling. It's part of the journey. The key is to keep pushing forward. You're doing better than you think." Her words reignited a spark within him. He took a deep breath and began peeling the potatoes, the rhythm calming his nerves. With every peel, he felt the weight of self-doubt lift, replaced by renewed determination. The following months were a whirlwind of culinary exploration. Marco experimented with diverse cuisines, dissecting recipes and creating dishes that melded tradition with innovation. He found immense joy in cooking, transforming stress into creativity. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Marco sat with his classmates, sharing a meal they had prepared together. The laughter and camaraderie enveloped him like a warm blanket, reminding him of the comfort he found at Maggie's place. As they feasted on their creations, Marco felt a surge of gratitude. "You know," he said, looking at the group, "I never imagined I'd be here, cooking with all of you. It's a dream come true." A classmate, Maya, nodded in agreement. "I can relate. The first time I tried to saute, I nearly set the kitchen on fire. Now, I'm making paella like a pro." Laughter erupted, and Marco felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. They shared stories of their culinary ambitions and the struggles that had brought them here. Days turned into months, and Marco found himself thriving in the vibrant culinary world. He developed his unique style and gained recognition among his peers. The school even held monthly competitions, and Marco entered with a dish inspired by a childhood memory, a twist on his mother's traditional risotto, elevated with seasonal vegetables and a hint of truffle oil. As he plated the dish, he poured his heart into every element, hoping to convey the warmth of home. When it came time for the judges to taste, Marco felt a mix of fear and excitement. Would they see the passion behind his creation? After what felt like an eternity, the results were announced. Marco held his breath as the instructor praised his dish for its flavor and creativity. "And the winner of this month's competition is Marco." Cheers erupted around him, and his classmates rushed forward to congratulate him. Tears of joy filled his eyes as he realized the fruit of his labor. He had not only won a competition, but had also begun to carve out a place for himself in the culinary world. After the competition, Marco received an unexpected invitation from the school to present his dish at a local food festival. The thought of showcasing his creation in front of a crowd sent excitement coursing through him. It felt like a culmination of all his hard work, and he couldn't wait to share a piece of his heart with others. In preparation, Marco spent weeks fine-tuning his risotto recipe, sourcing the best ingredients and practicing his presentation. He envisioned the festival, bright lights, laughter, and the joyful sounds of people enjoying food. It was a dream he had been chasing for so long. Finally, the day of the festival arrived. As he set up his booth, Marco felt exhilaration and nerves dancing in his stomach. He looked out at the sea of people milling around, each one seeking a culinary experience. He remembered the countless nights spent in the kitchen, the struggles, and the moments of doubt. As the first customers approached his stall, Marco greeted them with a smile. "Welcome! Would you like to try my risotto? It's made with love and a touch of truffle oil." They tasted it, and their eyes lit up with delight. "This is amazing," one woman exclaimed. "It tastes like a hug in a bowl." Marco chuckled, his heart swelling with pride. The positive reactions fueled his passion, and he began to share the story behind his dish, the love of his mother, and the journey that had brought him here. As the day progressed, he sold out of risotto, leaving behind a string of satisfied customers and newfound friends. Exhausted but elated, he packed up his booth, reflecting on his incredible journey. Later that evening, Marco received a phone call from Evelyn. "Marco, I heard you did an incredible job at the festival. I'm so proud of you." "Thank you, Evelyn. I can't believe how amazing today was. It felt like everything I've worked for came together," he replied, his voice brimming with excitement. "I always knew you had it in you. This is just the beginning. Keep pushing and don't forget to enjoy every moment." As he hung up, Marco gazed at the stars twinkling above him, a reminder that the universe had a way of aligning with dreams. He thought of the challenges, the hours spent honing his skills, and the beauty of human connection he had forged along the way. With a heart full of hope and gratitude, Marco realized that every stumble, every moment of doubt had shaped him into the chef he was becoming. He was no longer just a cook. He was a storyteller through food, a creator of experiences, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. And as the sun set on that unforgettable day, Marco smiled, knowing that his journey was far from over. The future stretched before him, filled with endless possibilities, and he was ready to embrace it all with open arms and a heart full of dreams. Part 3. The Taste of New Beginnings. As autumn leaves painted the city in shades of gold and crimson, Marco found himself adapting to his new life as a culinary student. The thrill of competition and the joy of discovery had left him breathless, yet the path was still wrought with challenges. Each morning began with the same routine: an early rise, a quick breakfast, and an invigorating walk to school, where he faced both fear and excitement. One crisp morning he arrived early, the shadows still lingering in the kitchen. He decided to practice the knife skills he had struggled with at the beginning of his journey. As he set out the vegetables, he could feel the remnants of self-doubt creeping in. "What if I can't replicate what I've learned?" he whispered to himself, gripping the knife tightly. The instructor entered, her presence commanding yet encouraging. "Good morning, everyone. Today we'll focus on creating a classic French onion soup. It's all about balance, sweetness from the onions and richness from the stock." Marco felt a surge of enthusiasm. He had always admired the precision behind French cuisine. As the instructor demonstrated the technique for caramelizing onions, Marco watched closely, absorbing every detail. He could picture the delicate balance of flavors he aimed to achieve. "Remember, patience is key," the instructor said, stirring the onions slowly. "Let them caramelize until they turn a deep golden brown. Rushing this process will only result in bitterness." Marco nodded, determined to embody this lesson in his cooking. As he began his own batch, he meticulously followed the instructions. He could feel the warmth of the stove radiating around him, and the sweet aroma of onion slowly transformed the kitchen into a haven of comfort. But just as things began to flow, his confidence was shaken again. A fellow student, Alex, leaned over to him. "Hey, Marco, looks like you're struggling a bit with that knife. You need to be quicker if you want to keep up during the service." The words stung, a reminder of his early hesitations. "Yeah, I'm just focusing on getting it right," Marco replied, forcing a smile. You can't be too careful, man. This is a competitive field. Alex shrugged, returning to his own station. Marco felt a rush of frustration and doubt. Was he really meant to be here? Yet, as he stirred the onions, he remembered Evelyn's encouragement. Focus on progress, not perfection. Inspired, he poured his heart into the soup, reminding himself that each challenge was an opportunity to grow. Later that week, Marco found himself in a heated moment of vulnerability. It was a late night at the school, and he was working on a dish for a class presentation. His classmates had already left for the evening, leaving him alone with his thoughts. As he played his creation, a vibrant vegetable tart, he felt a wave of anguish wash over him. What if I don't do well? What if I fail? He muttered. The silence of the kitchen echoed his fears, amplifying his insecurities. Just then, Evelyn appeared at the door, her familiar smile cutting through the gloom. Marco! I thought I saw the light on. Is everything okay? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's just... I'm struggling. I want this so badly, but sometimes it feels like I'm not cut out for it. Evelyn walked over, looking at the tart with genuine interest. It looks beautiful. What's bothering you? I feel like I'm falling behind. Everyone else is so talented, and I'm barely keeping up, he admitted, his eyes dropping to the floor. Have you forgotten how far you've come? Remember the man who cooked at Maggie's place? You've transformed, Marco. The journey isn't only about the end goal. It's about the growth along the way, she reminded him gently. Her words wrapped around him like a warm blanket, easing the tension in his chest. You're right. I just need to keep pushing. Maybe I'm too hard on myself. Exactly. And don't forget, it's okay to ask for help. Share your struggles with others. You'll find support where you least expect it, Evelyn added with a reassuring smile. Marco took a deep breath and nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. Thanks, Evelyn. I'll try to remember that. As the weeks rolled on, the rhythm of school began to settle into something more familiar. Marco and his classmates grew closer, sharing not only successes, but also setbacks. They formed a small support group, gathering after classes to exchange recipes and laughter, often punctuating their struggles with humor. One evening, Marco shared a particularly embarrassing moment from a recent class. So there I was, trying to flambe, and instead of a bright flame, I ended up with a sulky little puff of smoke. It was like my dish was trying to say, "Not today." Laughter erupted around the table and Marco felt lighter. As they shared their own flops and victories, he realized they were all in the same boat, navigating the tumultuous waters of culinary school together. However, the challenges of the program continued to test Marco's resolve. One day, as he prepared for a final examination, he caught sight of a familiar face in the crowd outside the school. It was his former boss, Maggie, beaming with pride. She had come to support him on this significant day. "Maggie!" he exclaimed, rushing over to her. "What are you doing here?" "I wouldn't miss it for the world, Marco. I've watched you grow, and I'm so proud of everything you've accomplished," she replied, her eyes glistening with warmth. With Maggie's encouragement, Marco felt a renewed sense of confidence. "Thank you for believing in me. You were there when I didn't believe in myself." As the exam began, Marco channeled that energy into his cooking. He prepared his signature risotto, hoping to recreate the magic he had experienced at the food festival. Each stir of the pot was infused with purpose, and each addition of ingredients was a celebration of his journey. The judges walked around the room, tasting dishes and offering feedback. When they reached Marco's station, he presented his risotto with a flourish. "This dish is inspired by my childhood, with a twist of my own, just like my journey," he explained, his heart pounding in anticipation. After tasting, the lead judge smiled. "This is exceptional, Marco. The flavors are beautifully balanced. You've captured the essence of comfort food while elevating it to something special." Marco could hardly contain his joy. As the exam concluded, he waited anxiously for the results, surrounded by his classmates who offered words of encouragement. Finally, the head instructor took the stage. Today, we've seen remarkable progress from all our students. However, one dish stood out for its creativity and heart. Every heartbeat felt like an eternity until the instructor announced, "The winner of this term's final exam is Marco." Shouts of joy erupted around him as he was enveloped in a wave of congratulatory hugs. Tears of happiness rolled down his cheeks as he realized that this moment was not just a victory. It was a testament to his resilience. After the celebration, Marco called Evelyn to share the news. "I did it. I won the final exam," he exclaimed, his voice bubbling with excitement. "I knew you could. Your hard work paid off, Marco. You've truly become an extraordinary chef," she replied, her pride evident. As the months rolled towards graduation, Marco reflected on his journey. He may have started as a cook in a small diner, but he had transformed into a chef who understood not just the art of cooking, but the beauty of resilience and the power of community. On graduation day, standing in front of his classmates, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "I would like to thank each of you for being part of this journey with me. We've faced challenges, shared laughter, and grown together. This is just the beginning, and I can't wait to see where our paths lead." The applause echoed in his ears, a reminder that he was no longer alone in his quest. As he gazed into the future, Marco knew that the world was waiting for his culinary voice. With hope in his heart and the lessons of his past as a guiding light, he stepped forward into the world, eager to share his story through food, one dish at a time. There would be more struggles ahead, but he had the tools to face them, armed with resilience, inner strength, and the unwavering support of those he had come to cherish. And so, as the sun set on that momentous day, Marco took a deep breath, ready to embrace the next chapter of his life, with a heart full of dreams and a spirit resilient enough to overcome anything. Part 4. The Journey Beyond the Horizon. The glimmer of the city skyline welcomed Marco as he stepped out of the culinary school, his heart still thrumming with the excitement of graduation. He had spent countless hours in kitchens, battling self-doubt and perfecting dishes, and now, standing tall with a diploma in hand, he felt triumphant. But with triumph came uncertainty. As much as he relished the victory, Marco knew he was entering a realm filled with challenges beyond culinary school. The world of professional cooking was fierce, competitive, and often unforgiving. He took a deep breath, the cool air filling his lungs with the scent of possibility. "Congratulations, Chef Marco," a voice called from behind him. It was Mia, his classmate and friend. "Can you believe we made it?" "I know, right?" Marco replied, grinning widely. "It feels surreal, but what's next? I've been so focused on getting here, I didn't think about where to go from now." "You'll figure it out," she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We all will. Let's celebrate tonight. We deserve it." "Yes, let's do it. How about a little potluck?" "I'll make my risotto," he suggested, a familiar warmth spreading through him at the thought of cooking for friends. As they planned the evening, Marco's heart swelled with gratitude. This journey had transformed him, not only as a cook, but as a person. It was a realization that intertwined with the threads of his past, his struggles, his dreams, and the people who had supported him along the way. The evening arrived, filled with laughter, joy, and the aroma of various dishes prepared by his classmates. Marco moved around the table, sampling everyone's creations, each bite a testament to their shared journey. "Marco, your risotto is still the best," Mia exclaimed, her eyes lighting up as she savored a spoonful. "Thanks. I think it tastes better when I make it for friends," he replied, a smile tugging at his lips. As the night wore on, they shared stories of their experiences and aspirations, each tale resonating with hope and determination. Marco felt the weight of uncertainty begin to lift. He knew he would face challenges, but he also felt a renewed sense of belonging and purpose. Weeks turned into months, and soon Marco found himself navigating the world of job applications. He sent out resumes to various restaurants, each rejection a sharp reminder that the culinary world was just as daunting as he had anticipated. One afternoon, as he sat in a small cafe staring at his laptop, he sighed heavily. "I just don't know if I have what it takes," he muttered to himself, pushing a strand of hair behind his ear. Just then, Evelyn walked in, her presence illuminating the room. Spotting Marco, she made her way over. "Hey there, you look deep in thought. What's going on?" "Just trying to figure out my next move," he admitted, running a hand over his face. "I've applied everywhere, but nothing yet. I'm starting to feel like I'll never find a place." Evelyn sat across from him, her expression encouraging. "It's tough out there, but don't let that discourage you. Remember, every great chef has faced rejection. It's part of the journey. You have the talent. Just keep pushing." "I know, but sometimes I feel like I'm a small fish in a gigantic ocean," he replied, his voice tinged with frustration. "Even small fish can make waves," she said, her tone light yet firm. "Have you thought about reaching out to your network? You've built relationships during school. Leverage those connections." Marco pondered her words. "You're right. I've met so many incredible people. I'll reach out and see what opportunities arise." "Exactly. And remember, the right opportunity will come along when you least expect it. Just keep cooking and refining your skills in the meantime. You're a chef now. Own it." With renewed determination, Marco left the cafe, a smile creeping onto his face. He began reaching out to former classmates and instructors, asking for advice, mentorship, or leads on job openings. Each connection felt like a thread weaving him back into the fabric of the culinary community. Weeks passed, and one day, a message arrived in his inbox that made his heart race. It was from a former classmate, Sarah, who had landed a position at an upscale restaurant. "Marco, we're looking for a prep cook. If you're interested, let me know. I'd love to have you on the team." Marco could hardly contain his excitement and quickly replied, "Absolutely. I'd love to join. Thank you for thinking of me." After a brief interview, Marco was welcomed into the bustling kitchen of the restaurant, a vibrant space filled with energy, creativity, and a sense of camaraderie. The atmosphere was electric, and he embraced the chaos, relishing the opportunity to learn from seasoned chefs. However, the initial days were overwhelming. The pace was relentless, the expectations high, and the pressure immense. Marco often found himself struggling to keep up with the demands, feeling the weight of self-doubt creeping back in. One afternoon, during a particularly hectic shift, he was tasked with preparing ingredients for a dinner service. As he sorted through a mountain of vegetables, he felt anxiety building. "What if I mess up? What if I can't keep up?" he whispered to himself, his hands trembling slightly. Just then, Sarah walked by and noticed his distress. "Hey, Marco, you're doing great. Just take a breath and focus on one thing at a time. You've got this." He nodded, trying to absorb her encouragement. "Thanks, Sarah. I just feel so pressured to prove myself." "That's normal, but remember why you love to cook. Let that passion guide you. It's okay to make mistakes. We all do. Just learn from them." Her words resonated within him, reigniting the fire that had fueled his culinary journey. With a deep breath, he focused on the task at hand, chopping vegetables with determination and purpose. As the days turned into weeks, Marco began to find his rhythm in the kitchen. He learned to navigate the rush of service, embracing both the adrenaline and the joy of creating meals that delighted patrons. Each night felt like a new adventure, and with every plate sent out, he felt a growing sense of belonging. One evening, as he plated a dish for a VIP table, he noticed the head chef observing him. The chef approached, a critical eye scanning his work. "You've improved, Marco. Your technique has become more refined," he said, surprising Marco with the praise. "Thank you, chef. I've been working hard to find my footing," Marco replied, his heart swelling with pride. "Keep pushing. You have potential. I can see you growing into a strong chef," the head chef continued. "Remember, We're a team here. Lean on each other for support. Marco felt a sense of validation wash over him. The struggles he had faced in the beginning were beginning to pay off, and he was no longer just a cook. He was becoming a chef in his own right. As months passed, he blossomed in his role, taking on more responsibilities and becoming an integral part of the kitchen team. He learned to collaborate with his fellow cooks, sharing ideas, techniques, and laughter. But beneath the surface, Marco still faced moments of doubt. The culinary world was filled with comparisons, and he often found himself weighing his journey against those of his peers. One evening, after a busy service, he sat alone in the break room, feeling the familiar pang of insecurity. "Hey, Marco, you okay?" Mia asked, entering the room and grabbing a water bottle from the fridge. "I'm fine," he replied, forcing a smile. "Just tired. Look, I know it's easy to compare yourself to everyone else, but you have to remember your journey. You've come so far," she said, sitting across from him. "I was talking to some of the newer students, and they're inspired by your story. You've become a role model for them." "Really?" Marco raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Yes, your resilience and growth have made an impact. So don't underestimate your journey. You're carving out your space in this world." Her words struck a chord within him, reminding him of the passion that had ignited his dream. He took a deep breath. Feeling the weight of doubt begin to lift. "Thank you, Mia. I really needed that." As the seasons changed, Marco's culinary creations gained recognition. The head chef began allowing him to experiment with specials, and patrons raved about his innovative dishes. It felt fulfilling to create meals that resonated with people, bridging his past experiences with his current culinary aspirations. One evening, as he plated a new dish, a vibrant vegetable medley paired with herb-infused grains, he felt a sense of pride wash over him. He poured everything into that dish, infusing it with love and memories. When the server brought it out, Marco held his breath, hoping to see smiles on the diners' faces. A few moments later, the server returned, beaming. They loved it. They said it was one of the best dishes they've ever had. Joy spread through Marco, and for a moment, he felt weightless. Cooking had transformed from a struggle into a celebration of life, love, and resilience. But even as